Good evening and welcome to Slogging It, episode 13. We'll see us discuss the rant, DRS system, Virat Kohli getting himself into trouble again, Virat on the pitch, Pakistan versus South Africa, our golf day, our cricket 11, and we have a wonderful discussion with a wonderful guest called Laura Bales-Bailey. We'll introduce you, as always, to my two. No, I normally say wonderful co-host, but considering the amount of chirp they've just been giving me, I'm just going to say the two fellas I have to suffer time with every week. Firstly, Mr. Eugene Berger. How are you, Chief?
I'm very good, thank you, Jono. It's been a good week, and we have been giving you a little bit of stick, but we will stop now. But more importantly, the weather is changing. I don't know what it's like in the north or the Midlands where you guys are, but I've officially turned off the heating.
Mate, it was positively glorious today. We had blue skies and it was 11 degrees. You worry about that. Simon Roberts, how are you, mate?
Simon Roberts, that's a new name. I'm not sure that was the one my mum gave me, but we'll go with that. Middle name's Andrew, by the way, just in case anyone was bothered. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Like you say, I managed to took the dog for a walk today and didn't have to dress like I was Darth Vader, which was quite pleasant. There was skin on show. It was delightful. Almost got a tan.
Right. Okay, good. I was wondering where he was going with the Darth Vader thing then. But yeah, I think he means wrapped up.
Well, yeah.
So careful how you say that, because if you talk about getting wrapped up in public, then you could get yourself in all sorts of bother. But anyway. Anyway, moving on. So, first thing to cover off, gentlemen. We had a fair few reactions to the rant, in inverted commas, the rant, which, you know, we've done a couple of those now, a couple of those short 20-minute things, just discussing things as they've come up. So, yeah, do head across and check that out. That was basically me just having a
I was going to say, were me and you on that? Were we on that at all, Huge, or was that just Jono?
We were answering Jono's questions and ending it. We started and we ended it. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a meltdown for about 20 minutes, and just screamed cricket-based things at Eugene and Simon. But you know, all valid according to the feedback. You know, just. It was like doing another episode for me. I found it quite
I was going to say, that's actually, you know, it's actually quite cathartic that you got to vent, and that's the whole point that we're trying to, you know, we're trying to make sure people understand is you got to talk about it. So yeah, I'm glad Jono did.
If you don't, and you keep it all inside, then that's what can go on to cause problems. Something that we are obviously keen to avoid. So yeah, please do go and check that out. Quickly, thank you to our partners, as always, Woodstock Cricket, the Lord's Taverners, the wonderful charity that they are, and Big Smoke Brewery. Simon, perfect product placement there, considering what I was saying. Looks like you've done this before. So, yes, now, obviously as part of the rant, a lot of it was to do with third umpires and stuff, and, you know, the cricket. Now, we could say, oh, we're not going to talk about the cricket because it's not going our way. But we are not that type of podcast, are we? So we are going to discuss the cricket. First of all, and this is the thing I forgot to write down, but Ben Foakes versus Josh Buttler. We were talking about stats earlier and we couldn't find it, but it looked something along the lines of, and it's not going to be exact, so don't come at us with all your cricket badgery, like angriness if we don't get this quite right. But in essence, Ben Foakes averages more in first-class cricket than Josh Buttler, comfortably across about the same number of games, with more stumpings, more catches, and he is better looking. Has he shagged someone's mum? Sorry, I realise that I need to go on a bit.
Hopefully his children's.
Has he shagged Ed Smith's mum? Because what does he do to have to overtake Josh Buttler in the rankings of... you know, I don't mind Josh Buttler. I'm sure he's a wonderful chap. He's a very, very talented cricketer. But Ben Foakes is the best keeper we have, and according to first-class stats, a better better than Josh Butler. He averages something like 65 in subcontinental conditions. He hasn't fared quite as well against pace. Maybe that's a reason, but averages are averages. It's good.
It's one of these things, isn't it? It's always going to be. Back in the 90s when we were crap, there was this eternal debate of whether to pick Alex Stewart or Jack Russell. With Jack Russell being eminently the better wicketkeeper, but Alex Stewart holding that kind of dual role. Now, it's obviously not the same debate because Alex Stewart averaged 38 in Test cricket and Jack Russell averaged 3.5. So it's not quite the same
Looked
debate.
good doing it though, didn't he?
He did look very good doing it. A great curtain rail. And apparently he smelt lovely all the time as well. So
apparently he smelled horrific. He used to do it to wind
no,
the
no, that was it. That was it. Wasn't lovely, was it? It wasn't
Did
lovely.
it on purpose to wind the batsman.
Yeah, didn't brush his teeth on the morning of a game. Which, I mean, we can go into Australia, standing at the stumps, shadow batting. I mean, what's right and wrong?
Wicket-keeping gloves.
But Ben Foakes has no doubt been unlucky because Josh Butler is seen as a once-in-a-generation cricket talent across all formats in terms of his ability to take... Ben Foakes is never going to be a destructive type of player.
I don't know. I bet there's a few hundred women out there who might disagree with you.
Well, but he's not in terms of his batting. He's not going to change a game now. When you can stand up to
staying in and scoring runs, he's not.
Well, no, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say.
Not in the same way as a Butler.
Yeah, he's not going to do that. But yeah, Butler is a very different type of player to Foakes. Foakes isn't going to come in. You might argue that Butler yesterday might have got 85, batting with a tail and whacking it, being destructive. Whereas Foakes played the innings that was required at the start, nudged it around, but then didn't really shepherd the tail, which Butler has been very good at. So yeah, he got 48 not out, played well, but could he have done something different? You can argue yes or no. I mean, at the end of the day, the guy stands up to Stuart Broad bowling 84 mile an hour leg spinners.
That's nuts. Right.
Which is, I mean, he dropped one today, but that's different gear. That is when it comes to keepers and that type of thing. To be able to do that, he did some ridiculous takes. He got 2 stumpings, obviously.
Yeah.
The comical run out of Rohit Sharma when Rohit Sharma dropped his bat, then tried to dive in, fell over his feet, fell over his helmet. All sorts of stuff happened, and I don't mean the one on his head. But I think at the end, England have got the squads they want to pick. In one-day cricket, Test cricket, they've got these players they want to get in. And unfortunately, whether it's because he's far better looking than Josh Butler, whether it's because he's slept with Ed Smith's mum, or for whatever else...
That is a vicious rumour created by us, by the way.
whatever other...
If you're listening, Ed, we don't mean it.
No, I don't. Of course, I don't mean it. But there's obviously a reason that they keep going with Butler, and for whatever... I'm not disagreeing with it. He's an unbelievable cricketer.
He scores a lot of runs, but he doesn't score the right type of runs. There's that Australian saying. They always say that. It's like, he's a good bloke, but he's not the right type of bloke. And he scores loads of runs, but they're not the right type of runs. So, yeah, I feel sorry for folks. I mean, I've been not campaigning. I mean, within Twickenham, I have actually. Myself and Watsy have a go at each other every time. Butler's produces a low score, I just message him a small smiley face, and every time he scores 100, when Butler does, because should Butler be there?
Well, he's not sent you many smiley faces.
Yeah, you send a smiley face in relation to Foakes.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, it's. I feel like I said, I would be picking him in my side, and if Butler's so good as a batsman, pick him as a batsman.
Yeah, I was listening to TalkSport 2. Today, and 2 of their commentators or guest summarisers, whatever you want to call them, Matt Pryor and Darren Gough, who were both on at the same time with Neil Manthorpe and Mark Nicholas while folks were standing up. And Matt Pryor and Darren Gough were just like, this bloke's unbelievable. Pryor was saying it's ridiculous. Pryor was begging him to go back. He was saying he should go back. The only thing that's really going to happen here is he's going to get injured. because of the variable bounce and whatever. Much high praise, especially someone like Matt Pryor, who's was an incredible wicketkeeper batsman for England over a long period. Talking about his scoring rate, do we think that may have been affected by? We were talking about batsmen doing the hokey cokey between overs in a few years' time. Looks like Virat Kohli was doing that down the centre of the wicket on a few occasions today. Virat Kohli, by the way, the man who every time you begin to think he's anything slightly less than a dickhead, gives you another reason to make you believe that he is a complete dickhead.
Well, we know which side of the fence Jono sits on that now. I think.
What is it with these blokes?
I
being
have
dickheads.
No idea, mate. The running down the wicket thing knocks me for multiple reasons. One, I think it's dead easy not to do. Like, if you take one step and get off, that's fine. I think it's something where occasionally an umpire uses it to get involved in the game, which I dislike.
Yeah.
Like, you can see, but I mean, Virat Kohli basically army march left, right, from one side of the pitch to the other, thought I've not run on the middle enough here, so went back across, and then went, oh no, actually I need to be on that side. So, to be fair, if his spinners are bowling at the halfway mark in the pitch, it's going to spin. But I think with some of his other behaviour, I think cricket has got... When we were discussing your rant in the week and we were talking about how Joe Root was remonstrating with the umpires to check the next bit, I think we need to be very, very careful. Cricket needs to be very careful not to turn into Roy Keane screaming at Mike Riley, like, fucking what you doing? Because it's getting... Joe Root standing there, remonstrating with the umpire. No umpire in the history of the world has ever gone, no, actually, you're right, mate. Let's have a look at that again. It never changes anything. And if what Virat Kohli did when talking about the LBW is fundamentally wrong. There is a decision, there's a DRS system where the player has an opportunity to question an umpire's decision. That's fine.
I wonder if Kohli's actually beginning to worry for his job a little bit.
That's why he's acting.
Well, you look at what happened in Australia. They lost the first test here. Look, they're going to win this test, no question. But I think it's much more even contest in the fact that it's 1-1. I know that England won easily in the first test, and I think you also can be absolutely sure as shit guaranteed what kind of wicket we're going to see for the third and fourth.
I think it'll be a green seamer next time.
Oh, it's a day nighter, isn't it?
I don't believe you, Si.
You'd expect it to break.
Neither do I. I think, to be fair, I think India might just pick one seamer.
Well, yeah, I think,
and then
I think I said this to you boys. There's only been 57 overs of seam over the 3 days. It was interesting. Now, has there been that much wrong with the pitch? No, because it's been a spinner's wicket. Totally get that. The only difference is that India's spinners are better than England's spinners. Otherwise, if it was the other way around and England were winning this, everyone would say, no, would we be complaining about the pitch? I still would be as a neutral. No. I would. It's not cricket for me. I said this to you guys when we were talking about the pitch and,
If a number 8 can stroll out and get 100 on it, I'm sorry, I don't care how good or bad your spinners are, or how good or bad your seamers are. If he can walk out as a number 8 who averages against England, he averages about 97, but against every other team in the world, he averages about 20. If he can go out and play like he did, it ain't that bad.
With you. Yeah. No, I don't have anything to come back
with. It's about mentality, I think, as much as anything, isn't it? Like, if you can be positive in defence. We just seem to be in 7 minds every time. They're not committing forward, they're not committing back. And it's the perennial problem in India, isn't it, for English teams? So anyway, I don't feel like Kohli's got enough airtime there. I think that he is a brilliant cricketer, but I think he's such a divisive character.
Just one other point for me, John. It's one reason why I can't understand England going out there and trying to pick spinners, because the Indian batters are used to playing bang average spinners on Indian wickets.
Yeah.
So us picking, it doesn't matter. We can pick 9. We could go
Archer would have played. I think,
9 spinners.
Archer would have played had he been fit.
Yeah, but who would he have played instead? He'd play instead of Stone.
Oh, Stone probably, you think. Yeah.
So we go out and pick two spinners. None of which, I mean, we seem to be the only international team that picked off spinners that can't make it bounce. Like, I mean, I'd have thought that'd be rule number one. Like,
well, you mean the fact that Moeen bowls so many fullies?
Well, him and Don Bess. I mean, just make it bounce 6 times. That would be a start. Like, I'm not. I mean, my dad bowls off spinner. You can make it bounce 6 times. He's 66.
Yeah, you're right. It might bounce 6 times. It might bounce 6 times. Your old man let us go of it these days.
Yeah,
before it got to the other end.
But do you know what it has got a chance of? Spinning.
Especially out of one of Virat Kohli's footmarks.
Yeah, to be fair, as an off spinner on a spinning wicket, surely you'd rather it bounce twice than not.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say about your Virat Kohli comment, Jono, is that this is only the second test. We're going to have heaps more time to talk about him in tests 3 and 4 because I don't think his antics after this test. I mean, there's talk of him possibly being banned because of the antics of the way he went up with the the DRS system. So, yeah,
well,
Oh.
I mean, that's twice now. He's stolen my next point from under me. He's pulled the carpet from under my feet, trying to nick my gag.
You can't say he's nicking your gag. He came up with it in the pre-game.
Yeah, but I'm the host.
Well, tell us your gag. Come on.
No, I'm not talking about it. We're moving on.
To the American
it's my train set, and I'm taking it, and you two can fuck off. Yes, so we have renamed. I say we. Evidently, I would have tried to take credit for it, but Eugene, before we came on air, has renamed the DRS system the IRS system, the India Review System, which I think is brilliant.
To be fair, if it was called that, India would have brought it in a lot earlier than they did.
Well, exactly. Yeah, because everything has to benefit India. Anyway, it's a good job.
They have played England off the park in this Test match. They have absolutely played England off the park.
Yeah, I still think it's ridiculous that in today's modern world that one country is allowed to try and rub against the grain in the way in which India do when it comes down to decisions that the ICC are trying to make for the benefit of the game for the collective. If you buy into it, if you want to be a part of global cricket, be a part of global cricket and agree and do what everyone else does. Otherwise, just go and fucking play on your own, boys. So yeah, although what do the lads who go to the IPL and earn fortunes say about that? Because if you then start banishing India and then all of a sudden it's only Indians allowed to play in the IPL, well then I don't think anybody would watch it, to be quite honest. So there are arguments for and against that. But anyway, golf day, filling up fast. So yeah, get in touch. info@sluggingit.co.uk. 1st of July, Forest of Arden European Tour venue, just outside Birmingham. It's going to be an absolute belter. We've got some amazing guests. So yeah, if you want any more information on that, give us a shout. We'll be happy to tell you about that, as we would about our Cricket 11. Some exciting things going on there as well. So after a quick note from our wonderful partners at Lord's Taverners, you will hear a interview that we did late last week with a lady called Laura Bailey, who really interesting interview actually. Just before we go into that, I must remind you about the Lord's Taverners text number 70331. Please text TAVS 11 to 70331 to donate £3. We know a lot of you have been doing it, but it is a wonderful charity, and so as no one's been able to spend any money in lockdown, just give it all to the TAVS. Makes us look good, and that'd be amazing. So thank you, please. Yes, please make sure you are 16 or over and have the bill paid permission. And yeah, we'll see you on the other side. Ta-da!
The Lord's Taverners is the UK's leading youth cricket and disability sports charity. We break down barriers and empower disadvantaged and disabled young people to fulfil their potential and build life skills. Our cricket programmes support some of the most marginalised and at-risk young people in the UK, using sport and recreation to build links and encouraging groups to play sport together. We tackle issues such as knife crime, unemployment, radicalisation and also isolation, something we are all feeling right now. Last year, our programmes impacted the lives of more than 12,000 young people, and with your support, will help even more in the future. Find out more and make a donation at lordstaverners.org and help us to continue our life-changing work. Thank you.
Thank you, as always, to our partners, the Lord's Taverners, a wonderful charity that they are. This week, we are extremely excited to welcome our first lady to the podcast, cricket captain, social media sensation, dental practitioner, influencer, and LMS legend. The list goes on. It is Laura Bales-Bailey. How are you, Laura?
I'm very good. I didn't know I had so many accolades to my name.
Well, you know, we like to impress on the show, so yeah, we like to give people a bit of a big up before we start pissing them off.
I'll give you
by asking them awkward questions.
I'll give you the tenner later.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as always, we'll be asking Laura a lot about kind of cricket, her career in cricket, how she got into cricket, touching on a couple of mental health bits before moving into the all-important questions where we will no doubt take a tenner offer. I have been nominated this week to match Laura's donation, and so hoping, as I always do when it's my turn, that she performs incredibly well. So, in the hot seat to start this week is me. So first off, how did you, or who do you have to thank for getting into your cricket? How did your journey in the game start?
It's a pretty unimpressive story. It starts with a guy called Dan. And Dan is your average London guy, okay? He moves to London and you go onto spare room and you know nobody. So you end up living with complete strangers. And that is basically how I met Dan. And Dan was an absolute cricket enthusiast. And he would just have it on the telly the whole time. Like, there was no way I'd be watching anything else. So I was kind of forced to watch it a bit. And then one day, he was like, Bales, we're short. Do you want to come and have a go? And I was like, no, because one, it's boring. And two, I don't know any of the rules. Like, it's ridiculous. How do you remember all of that? And it was like, it's like rounders, you'll be fine. And I was quite into my sports then. So I thought, oh, okay, fine, I'll come along. Little did I know, they made me open the bowling. And at this point, I literally didn't know anything about bowling. So I was doing these absolute filth bombs, like pushing it in the air, it going like 5 meters in the air and then dropping down. But I got so many wickets because these lads were like, oh, I'm going to whack her, full toss. But as the saying goes, shit gets wickets. So from that day forth, I became addicted. I was like, this is amazing. So yeah, thanks, Dan, wherever you are now.
Stay in touch.
Cheers to you. Yeah.
Yeah, on that note, we should say thank you to Big Smoke.
Yes.
Laura's obviously modelling it brilliantly for us, much better than three of us ever do or would. But yeah, so thank you to our partners, as always, Big Smoke.
So you're now part of a really big club in Surrey with a successful junior section, successful men's team. Jono's asked me to write reasonably successful, but
I'm just doing it for my mates at Wimbledon. It's just a little kind of local derby dig that. Up the Dons. Sorry.
Were Spencer one of the first clubs in Surrey to try and drive the ladies' game and that type of initiative?
So from my experience, when I started playing, I was only playing men's, and someone came up to me and said, if you want to get serious, you need to start playing for a women's team. And there is a team in London that is really progressive. They've got a fantastic ladies' side, and they're going to really support you. And Spencer was that name. So I was kind of directed that way, and there wasn't really any others that I was told about. So yeah, I guess at that point, 6 years ago, they were really, really progressive with their ladies' side, women's side, yeah.
You mentioned that you were scouted from that point of view, and it was an interesting conversation we had off air about how you got scouted and, more importantly, where you got scouted, because I think at the time you were at the Oval doing something. Yeah. Is that right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm one of those people that when I want to do something, I got a bit mad. Maybe I got ADHD or something. But I was like, when I decided I wanted to be good at cricket, I was like, I'm going to be good at cricket. So I used to just I used to go to the adult classes at the Oval. They do a coaching session there, and I made friends with some of the coaches and some of the helpers and whatever. And I ended up being able to just turn up whenever I wanted and just see my friends and just join in with nets. And that was the only way I was going to do it. I couldn't afford to pay to net all the time, and so I kind of just made friends and friends and friends. So one day I was netting with some friends I'd made, and I was just hitting, just basically trying to whack the ball. There was absolutely no technique, but I just was giving it a good whack. And there was a guy watching, and he was from Surrey, and he said, "Yeah, you can hit it, can't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's all right." He was like, "How long have you been playing cricket?" And I said, "Like a year or whatever." And he said, "Well, you've got potential. If you want to get serious, you need to start playing for women and get a local club." So that's how that conversation started to get into women's cricket at the Oval.
And you current Spencer Ladies 11 captain, obviously working as a dental practitioner, as we said. Where did the nickname, and I think Eugene's loaded this question because, I mean, it would make sense that it's your surname, but there's no cricketing analogy as to why you're named Bales, right? It is just a surname.
No. I never got called Bales before cricket. I was always called Laura or Loza, which I hate. So thank God for cricket. But no, it was cricket, and it was just because it's that cricket chat. It's like, oh, here comes Bales. The Bales are going to fly, and obviously, like, it is related to my name as well. But it almost like just ties in perfectly. So I always have it on my cricket shirts, and that's just how I'm known. Yeah.
Nice. Being a part of Spencer, over the years, you've had some amazing faces there. Obviously, Gus Atkinson, who's currently on the staff at Surrey, George Edwards, Michael Carberry. How involved is Gus, let's say, in the club outside of being a professional and trying to help the ladies section improve and push forwards?
Yeah, so I have to say Spencer is so welcoming and progressive with women, and I do feel like even people like Gus, who have had their debut for Surrey this year, they are heavily involved, and they don't sacrifice women's cricket to push on the men's. Like it's a very very fair club. So yeah, I would say people like Gus are very active and supportive.
Ebony Rainford Brent. I always find that name really difficult to say, but I'm a bit of an idiot. She's obviously massively involved in Surrey, pushing cricket in minority, or traditionally cricket in minorities massively, but especially women's cricket forward. Can you give us some kind of idea what her work and stuff has achieved within Surrey women's cricket and at a national level as well?
Yeah. I think she's not only is she an amazing cricketer, she's very, very talented, but she is just one of those people that is such a born leader, and people listen to her, and she's just so inclusive. I just think the great thing about her is that every single girl in any part of the world or country or town can believe that they can be a cricketer from the way she talks. And I really feel like that's the message that she's brought to not only Surrey and London, but it's so much broader than just her county presence. I do feel like nationwide she has spurred little girls on to play and feel like they can play professional cricket. So yeah, I big fan.
She was my mate's best man.
Yes. Oh,
Ebony.
Mark Costin.
Mark Costin, yeah. So I know Mark from our days together at Wimbledon, and then was it? I've gotten to know Ebony reasonably well over the years as well through Mark, and she was his best man, and she did such an amazing job. The wedding was fantastic, but just like you watch Ebony now on Sky and doing all the broadcasting stuff, and she was before she was kind of doing any of that, but yeah, she was the ultimate pro, so she did a great job. Evening, Ebony, by the way, if you're listening.
Yeah, she's just so, like, she hasn't changed, whatever is going on, and she's just humble, funny, just down to earth, which I love.
So talking of Ebony, obviously Isha Gould's been very popular in the Big Bash, and she's done a number of the tests in Australia, and obviously I think that has something to do with women's cricket throughout the UK and the inspiration that women have provided to a lot of young people. First of all, congratulations to Ebony for being signed for Channel 4. She's going to be doing the last 3 tests, but. Going back to the women's cricket game, was that an inspiration for you? And more importantly, have you seen a surge of players or ladies come to the club to start playing cricket?
Yeah, definitely an inspiration to see someone like Ebony in the position that she is. Fantastic. And I definitely, especially since the World Cup, when the women won the World Cup, the influx of players, young children, young girls, even adult women that have never played cricket before. Like it's crazy. Like these women, they're late 20s and they're like, I want to try cricket, and it's fantastic. It's amazing, and I think it is because of people like Ebony being in the spotlight, and that World Cup win. Yeah, it's definitely pushed things forward.
I know I know that our clubs are going to be playing against each other this year. Our ladies 11 is going to be playing against Spencer, so there's going to be a bit of a showdown there. And to your point, we had a huge influx of ladies last year specifically that came in and started playing for the club. And I think some of it had to do with, the participation. But it looks so positive now. I think we're in 2 or 3 competitions from a ladies' perspective. Yeah. So, I mean, it's only a good thing.
It's fantastic. I think we're, for the first time in history, we are creating a third 11, which is amazing, which is fantastic. Wow. And, we're having so many strong players available. 22 very, very strong first team players available every week, and it's so refreshing to not be like, oh, does your sister play cricket? Does she want to? Does she want to come and play? Like that. Gone are those stresses. And I think last year we won the Surrey Slam competition, and that has just brought so many younger girls up and basically ready to start playing first 11, and inspired many. So yeah,
brilliant. I think I know where my money is. I think the Twickenham Ladies 11, sponsored by Woodstock Cricket, obviously with superior bats and equipment, will no doubt turn over the Spencer Ladies in the summer of 2021.
It's going to be one for the books.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that cricket fans on a broader scale are beginning to have a better understanding of women's cricket? Like, I now hear a lot more men talking about women's cricket and the vast improvements that have kind of gone within the game over the last, that World Cup win. Certainly, everybody, unless you were living on Mars for a month, everybody heard about that, and anybody who loves cricket very much engaged with that. Do you think that the male cricketing population, as it were, are starting to take a much more genuine interest in the women's game?
Definitely. It sounds funny, but I can actually compare 6 years ago when I used to play men's cricket. And you gather in the pub afterwards, you pack a crisp pint, and you'd be chatting. And back then, men almost didn't know what to talk to me about. They didn't know anything about women's cricket, right? And it's it's like, oh, so what do you do, like whatever. Fast forward 6 years, I'm actually having really in-depth conversations about, the power hitting of the West Indies, so many more things like that I would never expected to have had a conversation about. So I think the knowledge and also the interest has definitely improved. And yeah, I'm excited. I feel like it's becoming more of an even playing field more and more.
Talking of power hitting and stuff in the women's game that you just mentioned there, obviously the 100 is being run concurrently with the men's tournament this summer. Like, do you think that's only ever going to promote the game as a whole, isn't it, within amongst women and that type of thing? That's obviously a massive thing for women's cricket to be done. I know the Big Bash started it, but then that's going to be massive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, seeing adverts where you've got Danny Wyatt and Josh Butler next to each other, in kit advertising 100, that it's only going to do great things. And I do think that now that women are able to make a living and have a professional contract, that will just keep accelerating. yeah, so definitely it's going to help.
It is amazing to think that, we spoke earlier off thing about I was on the MCC Young Cricketers, and at the time that was the first all-female contract, and it was the like of Catherine Brunt. There were some others on it, but I think Catherine was the one that got the furthest. But there was only 6. There were 6 contracted players to the MCC, and the ECB had no contracts. Now that was in 2005.
Yeah.
But now you move forward to now, and it's just a huge change.
Yeah, I think it was actually last summer that it was the first. The competition with the Southern Vipers, the Central Sparks. That was the first official competition where women actually could write on their job description they were a professional cricketer. There was none of this part-time, they've got to work a job to try and support their passion for cricket. They're actually getting paid, a decent amount of money to live, to train, and to be a professional cricketer. And I think that's so inspiring and exciting.
I think you're right when you talk about so Danny Wyatt and Josh Butler, being seen together on adverts. I think it's now very much about it's seen as parity, isn't it? It's seen as like the women's game is very much as important as the men's game. Now, obviously, it's still in a kind of growth phase, let's say, but it's seeing such massive growth that it is catching, it'll take a while, but it's catching the men's game up in terms of popularity. And I think that's fantastic. I mean, through Woodstock, we got, one of my marketing guys sent me a list when all the central contracts got announced. And as I said, as we said off air, I'm really looking forward to trying to do some more, quite a lot of work within the ladies' game. I've been talking to Lydia Greenway, who we're going to have on the podcast in a few weeks' time, to see about how, as a business, we can try and kind of really help push the female game forward as well. So, but it's really refreshing to see that actually not only are fans starting to take the ladies or the women's game more seriously, but also the ECB and the lawmakers and what have you, by having the women's T20s before the international men's T20s and that kind of stuff. It's actually beginning to show a lot more parity.
Yeah, definitely.
So talking about Josh Butler and Danny Wyatt and the media sensation that they caused, you're a bit of a media sensation, aren't you? You're all over Instagram in quite an active way. So, did you get into that before cricket? Was it something that came with cricket? What was the story?
So no, to be honest, I find it quite draining, but I know the importance of it, and I think you can use it to a positive effect. So I didn't post that much before cricket, and even when I started cricket, there's this whole, you've got to be cool, you don't want to post, you're a cricketer, whatever. So actually for a while, I was too scared to do it, I cared too much about what people thought. And then I went away to India with Cricket Mentoring. I don't know if you're aware of them on Instagram. And they just said, Laura, just go for it. You're a female English girl that plays cricket. You're going to do well. Just do it. You can inspire women and all of that. So I just decided one day that I was just going to go for it and see what happened, and also I really wanted to use it to inspire other people, and also open opportunities for me, because it is difficult to get in front of the right people and to be scouted. So really it was like almost my showreel, my CV. So that's how I started it after cricket.
And if you don't follow Laura, what's your hashtag there? What is your?
It's Laura_Ann_Bailey. And I've
AKA Bales.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to have Bales or something, but people just know me as that now. So everyone was like, "Do not change it." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and I mean, having followed you since we started talking, you post quite a bit of cricketing content there, don't you? I mean, as you say, that's almost your CV or your portfolio of all the stuff that you do. So yeah, I mean, definitely go and have a look at Bales's Twitter, not Twitter, Instagram.
Thank you.
You bowled some pretty handy leg spin, and having watched some video evidence, you seem to love competing with the guys in last man stands. It's obvious from talking to you that the ability to compete on a level playing field with the guys is something that you obviously take great pride in, and and getting them out and smashing them for 4 or 6 or whatever, something that you absolutely love doing?
Yeah, it's making me sound like a sadist there, but no. Look, I think I'm just innately competitive. I've just always been that way. Get out a game of Monopoly, someone's gonna be crying at the end of it. I just am very, very competitive, and I guess that does translate when I do play with men. I almost get this like fire on. I want to prove myself, which sounds really stupid.
Yeah.
I relish, doing things that people don't expect me to do. And if that's bowling someone out, then so be it.
Is there a problem still in cricket that you would presume exists, where if you come out to bat, well, I'm not coming off the long run, I'm only going to, bowl off spin or whatever. I mean, because I presume that being as competitive as you are, you want to then face up to the guys just doing what they would do to other guys,
Yeah.
right? Or what's the, how is that situation kind of dealt with in the open field of play?
Yeah, I would say, 5 years ago when I first started, it was a bit more like they would maybe take it easy on me. But I think the more, as I progress and the more that women's cricket has become in the spotlight, I definitely feel like they don't change anything. I've been bounced, I've been hit in the ribs, all of those things. And, LMS, you know what the pitches are like? It will be like
Yeah.
pitch black and I'll have a bouncer like whiz past my face. But yeah, I do like that. I would prefer it that way. I don't want to feel like someone's taking it easy on me, because otherwise the success doesn't feel right or as good. That doesn't mean that sometimes I'm like, oh God, like this is quick. This is quick. So yeah, I would say that, no, I think it's pretty even now.
Brilliant.
I'm really glad I get to ask this question because this is about another form of cricket that I love. But balls of fire sounds like some kind of heinous activity. But can you talk us through balls of fire and what that is, how it works? How do people, if they want to get involved? I think it's a great way to get involved in cricket anyway, indoor cricket. But how do people get involved if they choose to?
Yeah, so I absolutely love indoor cricket, and actually I would consider it kind of almost completely separate to outdoor. It's so different. Obviously there are translatable skills, but indoor cricket is just so much fun. You're in such a close team. You're in a confined space, probably not very COVID secure at the minute, but but it's all about like your reaction speed, tactics. It's all fast paced and high energy. So I would I think there's a couple centres around the UK. You can just search for indoor cricket, but there's a lot of women playing indoor cricket, and I think it can be such a good social as well as competitive.
Yeah, it's I actually know the guy that's taking over Action Indoor Cricket UK. So they actually follow us on our Twitter and Instagram. It's just Action Indoor Cricket UK, I believe. But if anyone wants to get involved, please just dive on there. Like Laura says, there's centres all over the place. I know that they're changing the way it's run to try and make it even more inclusive and get more people involved. So
yeah,
it's great. It's great fun. It is great fun.
More
for after the cricket as well. It's quite good.
Good social.
The social aspect of it, especially in that Balls of Fire team that you're involved in, is special. It's a special.
It is.
Me and Eugene actually play for the can you call it sister team or brother team? I'm not quite sure how it works, but yeah, we both play for the other team that's involved from the men's point of view. So that's quite good.
Yeah, it's like light-hearted. It's not too serious. Yeah.
On a slightly more serious note, you had an opportunity to play for Surrey. And unfortunately, it didn't transpire through to a couple of reasons. And, when we were chatting offline and prepping for this, it was more of a, do you know what, it's actually affected you quite in quite a big way mentally. Do you maybe want to talk to us a little bit about how and why that transpired and how you've sort of progressed and got to where you are now?
Yeah. So So actually, it actually starts even further back than the trial with Surrey more recently. I got involved, I had a trial with Surrey maybe 2015, 16, and basically they said I wasn't good enough, which, to be honest, at that time I was not good enough. You know, I'd only been playing for 2 years, for goodness sake. But anyway, um, but they kept inviting me to come and train with them and bowl at their bowlers just because they needed bowlers. And I thought, oh, this is fantastic, like experience, whatever. So did that for a bit. And then a new person came into management, and, you know, I was a lot better at this point, and I'd maybe not been in contact with them for a while. And I thought, should I have another go? Should I? So I went to another trial, got rejected. And I was like, oh. So I was like, oh, okay, fine. You know what, this is fine. I won't pursue it anymore, whatever. And then another person came in charge, and there was another trial. And I had a great friend who was a fantastic cricketer. She'd come over from India, and she used to play state cricket, and she was amazing. And
Wow.
she really wanted to do this trial. But her English wasn't great. So I was helping her do all the application, all of that. And she asked me to come along with her to the trial. And so I came, and, you know, I turned up, and they said, are you trialing as well? And I was like, oh, no, I'm not, because I just felt like I can't fail again. Third time, I can't fail. But deep down, I was like, I want to do this. And they were like, oh, well, you can bowl and get involved if you want. So I started bowling, and actually I got offered to join the squad. And I thought, oh, crikey, like, I didn't even want to do it, but okay, this is amazing. So, you know, I got all my kit, got my name on my back, you know, Bailey, number, I think it was 60, 29 or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, I've made this. And I almost, do you know what? You know, the imposter syndrome, when you just doubt yourself. And I felt like I just wasn't good enough to be there because of all that failure and all of that. And I felt like maybe that held me back a bit. So I was in the squad, I was training, but I never felt like I deserved to be there. And I got selected for a game, and I believe I was in Croatia or Sardinia or something with my family on holiday, and I couldn't get back because there was no planes, and I was just devastated, and I ended up not playing. And that was my only opportunity to play for Surrey, the first 11, that year. And then after that, I got a letter saying, basically, you know, we're having to cut the numbers, and we won't be offering you a contract in 2019 or whenever it was. And yeah, that, I mean, you know, fourth time failing. I feel like for anyone that's going to be pretty hard. So yeah, so that was my journey with Surrey at that point.
When you after that obviously disappointment, you took a bit of a break. You obviously, you know, won the contract as SEMA, but obviously it changed you to kind of change course, if you like, and now you've become a. I know I said filthy leggy earlier. I obviously didn't mean it, but now you're a leg spinning all rounder. So how did that come about? What caused you to make that change?
Yeah, so yeah, I wasn't really recognised for my batting at all at Surrey, but I knew I enjoyed batting. And after that decision, to be honest, I was done with cricket. I was like, this is stupid. You know, I felt embarrassed, which is so silly because, you know, loads of people aren't good enough to make it. Okay, and, you know, but I felt stupid, embarrassed. Yeah, Jono there putting his hands up. No, I felt embarrassed, and I almost felt like I just didn't want to admit to the world that I wasn't good enough. And I did feel like at this stage, you know, my age and all of that, that if I didn't make it then, like, that's it. So I took a step back and just didn't do any cricket, which for me is weird. Like, even in the winter, I'm like, go, go, go. I don't really have a break. So I took about 6 months off. And then I thought, okay, let's give this one more go. Fifth time lucky, right? So I decided to think about my game plan. So if I want to play professionally or semi-professional, whatever, what's going to make me stand out? There's hundreds of seam bowlers, hundreds. thousands, whatever. So I was like, what's going to make me stand out? So I looked into spin bowling, and we have an amazing resource at Spencer in the shape of Scott Moody. I don't know if you've heard of Scott Moody. He was in the same school and training as Shane Warne. Terry Jenner was his coach, and he is amazing. And if Shane Warne wasn't in that era, Scott Moody would probably be playing for Australia, or would have been playing for Australia. So he's fantastic, and he coaches a lot of children at Spencer. So I got in contact with him. I was like, can you teach a 26-year-old woman how to bowl leg spin, please? And he was like, oh, okay. So he was like, this is going to be interesting. So I started off doing a 6-week lesson, 1-to-1, every week for 6 weeks. And it's probably the most infuriating few weeks I've ever had in my life. Like, leg spin in general, but leg spin is disgustingly hard. Horrible. So I basically thought, okay, that's it. I need to become a leg spinner, and I need to up my batting game, because that's the only thing that's going to give me any sort of chance. And so that's how I decided to change to leg spin.
They do say it's the most the toughest aspect or discipline in cricket, don't they? Leg spin. There's so many variables and so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I find bowling seam up hard enough. You have to put my wrist into it and kind of let it go out the back of the hand. Less chance of getting it right.
Yeah, it's very, very hard.
Yeah. So you're now obviously in a far happier cricketing place than you were back then. What are your aspirations kind of moving forward? Is it still that Surrey still the dream, or are you looking bigger than that, or is it?
I think county-wise, I think Surrey's great, but I think I'm done for there. And obviously they're a very strong side, whatever. So I think moving on to some other county would be great. I actually had a trial lined up in December last year, but it was cancelled because of COVID, and then it got rescheduled to January, and then it's cancelled again. But I'm in contact with them, and they still want me to come along as soon as the open airs training is happening, and that's for Berkshire, which is an incredibly strong team as well. So I am hopeful that, I want to play for county, but ideally I'd want to play professionally. It doesn't have to be for a long time. I just want to tick it off. It sounds silly, but just throw everything into it. But county would suit me very, very well. I'm a dental therapist the other part of my life, so something that works within that would be amazing.
Brilliant. Bales, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for being the first women's cricketer that has joined us on the podcast. It's been wonderful to hear your insight on not only the women's game, but the game that the four of us so dearly love in general. Now on to the tougher bit. I really hope you play cricket stats, because I'm putting in the same as you tonight.
You've got to be able to see.
So you've got to see. Yeah, exactly. I wish not. I wish I could feed you the answers, but I don't have your phone number, so there's no chance. So tonight Eugene's going to ask you 5 questions. Simon's going to give you the answers. You do have a little bit of leeway. I'd love to decide how much leeway.
You better be telling the world my good stats, yeah? I'm kidding.
We're going to see. We're going to see.
Yeah, so £2 a question. I will match it, so it'll be anywhere up to £20 going direct to the Lord's Taverners as our charity partner. So, Huge, off you go.
Yep. So, Laura, all of these stats, the first 4 anyway, come from Play Cricket. So, if there is any discretionary errors, it's due to the input that was put into Play Cricket, i.e., put shit in, put shit out, get shit out.
Yeah.
So, how many games have you played on Play Cricket? Men, women.
You can have a leeway of 10.
I'm going to say...
Well, hang on, that's for us to decide.
I'm going to say
I've already
224.
Unless it's a leeway.
You can have a leeway of 104.
It's a leeway of 96. It's 128.
Oh, okay. That's still quite a lot in 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Most
when
definitely
you
is.
break it down like that is a lot. Yeah.
Damn it.
According to Play Cricket, how many wickets have you taken in total?
I'm going to say 140.
Oh, I was just going to scream, just say 100 when you got it.
Is it exactly 100?
99.
Ah,
99,
We wouldn't have given
really
you
close.
100.
that's such a frustrating
Yeah.
number.
Well, you've got 2021 to look forward to. Come on.
Oh, God, I really rate myself, don't I? 140.
What year did you take your best bowling figures for of 4 for 16, and who was it against?
Oh, wait, I had already primed myself for the year. Okay.
The years needed.
Okay, so the year I think was 2018. Or was it 2017? 2016. 2019.
Yep.
Hey!
I mean, you've got a 1 in 6 chance of getting it right.
Was it against so wait, was it 2000, what was the year? 2016? Yeah. Was it against Ickenham?
Sounds a bit like Finchley.
Was it Finchley?
Yeah.
It was
Damn,
Finchley.
they are good. Well done, me.
I like the fact.
Okay.
that Chelsea took on that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I am
For those
38
of you-
years old, and I still do that, and all of a sudden I feel
Justified.
amazing.
For those of you listening on the podcast, you will see that on YouTube, or we might screen clip that and put it on Instagram, just because it is that good.
Oh, Ali G circa 2002 has just come flying straight back into my head.
That might be one of the that kind of prequels that we announce Laura's podcast. I think.
Absolutely. Question number 4.
dear.
How many not outs have you got?
Fuck all. No, I'm joking. Okay, how many not outs have I got? I have got 15.
27.
Oh, okay. Under promise, over
You're
deliver.
doing yourself an injustice there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, damn
A
it.
lot. If you'd have gone on with, if you'd have carried on your sort of record with your first 2 questions, you'd have actually been all right. But
Yeah. It's because I thought bring it down a peg, Laura.
I thought she was. I thought she was going to say 128.
And the last one's not related to cricket, but it is something that you do enjoy doing quite a bit of. How many Instagram followers do you have?
What, right now?
Well,
Correct.
as of about an hour and a half ago, yeah.
Yeah.
3,714.
Wow.
Again, you've gone down the question 4 route when you should have gone down the question 1 and 2 route. You got 5,713.
Oh no! I'm that's my other Instagram account. Damn it! I just said the wrong
Oh, right.
one.
She's basically just said I'm nearest damn it on 10,000 because
Yeah.
I've got 2 accounts.
No, damn it. Okay, no, that's my dental page. I mean, sorry, I haven't really looked at my cricket one today. Yes.
Anybody who wants to follow Laura the Dentist on Instagram, bear in mind we're a cricket podcast.
No, damn it. That's the only question I thought I would have nailed. Right? It's 5,714. Right?
13. Obviously, someone's got Baldy and binned you off.
Okay. Anyway, I got that wrong.
Oh well, another really successful night for me as being in the seat of matching the guests' donation. That is £20 that will be racing its way to the Lord's Taverners, the wonderful charity that it is. So we do not begrudge them that whatsoever. As we said previously, Bales, it's been a great pleasure to talk to you. Hope that we. Here's an idea: when we have the Slogging It Cricket 11 days, would you like to come and play for us?
Absolutely.
We would love it if you came and joined us. So we've got. We'll probably have 3 or 4 games this year, so we'll make sure that we get you involved in as many as you're available for.
On second thoughts.
Yeah, that's after 2 cans of Big Smoke. So yeah, I'll be useless if.
Well, they're sponsoring it, so.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's been a wonderful pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah.
Good luck as we go through 2021. We look forward to seeing your progress. We hope that you will stay in touch with little old us, and we can't wait to get you involved in some of the cricket days.
Thanks, guys.
And following on from our wonderful conversation with Bales, here is a note from our sponsors, Woodstock Cricket.
Looking for a new cricket equipment partner for yourself or your club can sometimes be tricky. With so many options to choose from, how do you make the right choice? When you want quality, value and service, there really is only one place to start. For more than a decade, Woodstock Cricket have been producing award-winning, high-performance cricket bats from their Shropshire workshop. Matched with their classy soft goods, luggage and accessories, Woodstock Cricket really do tick all the boxes. Get in touch with Woodstock Cricket and find out why many loyal clubs, players and international customers can't be wrong at info@woodstockcricket.co.uk.
Thank you, as always, to our partners Woodstock Cricket, who apparently make wicket-keeping gloves where the ink won't go all over your nice white trousers, especially if they're black. Anyway, you'll hear more about that. Hear more about that in my rant. If you care or have listened to it or would care to go and check it out, it's quite funny. I thought so. Anyway, so lads, really, really good interview. Really enjoyed spending an hour and a half chatting to Laura. It was really good fun. She's just like, pretty carefree attitude. Just obviously loves the game. Came to it late. Something that I know we want to talk about is how is cricket a game that is easy to come to later in life? Because I think it's one of those things that normally we would say you kind of need to grow up with, because cricket is either in you or it seems like an absolute hassle to try and get to understand all of it. Because from an outside looking in, I think it seems like a very complicated sport. But Laura obviously did that, and she's done pretty well out of it.
What a way to get into cricket, on My Rooms, I think it was, or Find My Room, or whatever it was.
Spare room. Yeah.
Unbelievable way to get into cricket. Meet a guy that's an absolute badger or enthusiast, as she called him, and then come to the game late. I mean, it's testament to anybody that wants to play cricket and take an interest in it. I mean, Laura, learned the game pretty late, and is now a very successful leg spin bowler, which she didn't even start off as that. So she's sort of learned it twice, which is even better from that point of view. The one thing I do have to quickly say, though, is I have to apologise for the amount of times I called it ladies' cricket. I was rightfully pointed out at our AGM that I was at last week on Friday that it's now the women's cricket side, not the ladies anymore.
Women's cricket,
so,
funnily enough, we've got a guest who we're recording with tomorrow, who used to play for England women's cricket 11 team. And it's funny, I was having a chat with her and I was like, see, I always thought it was politer to call a lady rather than a woman. And so we had this chat about it, and maybe we can talk to her about it tomorrow. But yeah, I don't think people are necessarily offended by it being called ladies cricket. I just think in today's world, it's just it seems to be the thing that the way it should be referenced as women's cricket.
Cool.
So, I'm sure you'll be forgiven.
Thank you. I was just,
she seems to like you.
Didn't want to get stoned.
The thing I wanted to sort of mention was that she started it at 23, which is incredible, but her commitment to it upon starting, like she obviously got into it, and then she'd just go to the Oval and just be in the nets and just keep training with whoever wanted her to train with them. That takes some gumption to do that. Just to walk in and go, no, sorry, I'll bowl, I'll keep doing it.
She seems pretty positively minded, though, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Like, she's up and at 'em type. Just goes, and if she decides she wants to do something, then she'll go and do it. So it was amazing. I mean, obviously she's involved at Spencer, reasonably sized club. Would probably want to be as successful as Wimbledon, but that's a story for another day. Up the Dons. But sorry, can't help it. But no, Spencer are a massive club, massive junior section. I think probably the biggest in Surrey. Really decent facilities down there, and what have you. And so obviously for them does not surprise me one bit that they're really forging ahead in terms of trying to promote the women's game from a club level perspective.
It just goes to show as well that it doesn't matter like what age you are. If you want to get into it, there's places, facilities, whether you're male, female, whatever. There's places you can go and play if you just want to start playing and then go for a net, walk up to your local club.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what standard they play at, just get involved and see how it's going to go. And not only did she do that for outdoor cricket, but she's also done that for indoor cricket. That's a lot of people won't know.
Here he goes on the indoor cricket thing. Played a bit of indoor cricket every side.
A little bit. But she says it's a very different game. I think it is. It's a great way to get people into the fundamental skills that are involved in it. It's a quick game. It's done in an hour and 20 minutes. And everyone gets a go. Everyone has to bat. Everyone has to bowl. But I think the fundamental skills that are on show are what will be used in all cricket. One thing that used to knock me when people walk there and hit something and go, well, that's 4 outdoors. Like bang it over mid on and go, that's 4 outdoors. Well, not if there's a long on, you tit. Like, it just used to wind me up. It's situational cricket, and you learn to play cricket in a different situation. And I think that's what indoor cricket does. Is it makes you adapt to playing a slightly different game in a slightly different way. And the fielding is, if people ever get the chance to go and watch and
it's brilliant.
Whether it be an international game or an elite level game, it is rapid. Absolutely rapid.
I was just thinking that as you were talking there. I didn't play a lot of it and got exposed to it very, very late. But I wish I'd have learned to play indoor cricket at a really young age.
Yeah.
Because I think it teaches you different ways of playing. Like, actually, to try and launch it over the top is so high risk, and you have to be so precise with it. That actually it teaches you to use angled bat, try and make your threes, bounce it up into the wall, etc. And so it forces you to play under your eyes, which, as we all know, you listen to any of the top international players, they all say play late, play under your eyes. And I think that indoor cricket offers you the ability to learn those skills early. And I would, say to any juniors out there or any parents who've got kids, if you are Birmingham, Derby, I think there's one in Bristol, anywhere, search out. If you've got access to indoor cricket and you've got youngsters, I'd seriously consider getting them involved in it, because I think that it will help anybody's outdoor game immeasurably by learning to play indoor cricket properly.
Yeah, there's the company that are doing it at the minute are called Action Indoor Cricket. They're all over Facebook and Instagram, Twitter and whatnot. But just dive on there; they'll be able to give you a link. I know I've played a lot with Huge as well. I don't know what your thoughts on the game. Huge.
I mean, I actually, I don't know how many people know this. I actually played for varsity. I was an action cricket umpire. So that's that's pretty much what I did from the ages of sort of 18 to 22 in South Africa. So yeah, I've played it for quite a long time. I never really got into playing it too much because I was umpiring most of the time, especially when you're umpiring 5 games a night. You start off at 6 and finish at 2 in the morning. Not much time to play, and you're doing that for 4 or 5 times a week. But I did play a couple of times here, especially when it was in Canary Wharf, and then we went down to was it Derby?
It was Whitechapel, wasn't it?
No, Derby. Yeah, that's where you played with me.
Yeah.
I had to initiate you.
Yeah, that
sounds dubious.
That anchovies was not nice.
Lovely. Not a paid partnership, that, by the way.
Yet.
We must just mention yet. I'm pretty sure that Simon's on that. The amount of mentions the game. Big Smoke and Woodstock are kicking up a right fuss. Jokes. Anyway, so yes, Laura Bales. Yeah, I just find it really interesting to talk to. Obviously, from a more mental health perspective, some of the stuff that she's been through. I mean, when she was talking to us about being away in Croatia or Sardinia or wherever it is, I mean, it's pretty poor show from Surrey, isn't it, to say, right, this is your opportunity. If you can't get back, then you're out, which is in effect what's been said. I'm sure there's more to it than that. But that's, if someone's on holiday, if you want to pick someone and they can't make the first game because they're on holiday, I'm having another go.
Yeah.
Like, other people, people with probably a weaker disposition than Laura, might have reacted pretty badly to that. She's obviously really strong and upbeat about stuff and whatever. But that we know from talking to her that was pretty tough for her to get through and whatever. And I think that you talk about safeguarding and this, that, and the other. Safeguarding can't only be for kids now. When we're talking about trying to promote mental health awareness and how people are being treated and whatever, then I think people like that do have a duty of care to those players. I'm sure that whoever the coach was, or whoever makes these decisions at Surrey, didn't even consider everything that had gone through the timeline of Laura trying to get into playing for Surrey, and that would then even create the tiniest of problems, but it did. So it is something that needs raising and something that people need to be aware of.
It just shows a little bit how, even then in 2018, so you're only talking a couple of years ago, can you imagine it in a men's county side? The person that's squad number 15 on the list being able to nip off to Croatia. I'm not blaming Laura for that, but that's just goes to show that that's the difference in how it was then. I mean, there's no doubt the coach would have been getting paid, so he's worried about his job, and they might have had 6, they might have had 10, they might have had whatever paid members of staff or paid players, but then to not think, well, hang on a minute, we're looking a bit short for this game. Let's get Laura on the blower and check she's going to be available for this time period because we're short, or we've got England call-ups, or whatever it might be. It just wouldn't. It just shows that as much as advancements that there has been in the women's game, you drop down a level to that, and it's still not quite there.
Yeah.
And that's whether it's changed again now. I would have thought so.
I think it's only getting better, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think again, the guest that we're talking to tomorrow, we're all really excited about. I think it'll give us an incredible view into not only how the women's game has progressed in the last 20 years, but also what what needs to be done, what is being worked on. I know that this person is obviously doing a huge amount of work in terms of trying to push the women's game forwards and whatever. So excited to have that conversation. But look, there are things that will need to continually be improved. It's not yet at the place where the men's game is. However, I think women's cricket will see huge growth over the next 10 to 15 years. And I think that's fantastic, and I think that as we spoke to Laura about, there are more people across all genders kind of wanting to engage with it more, learning a bit more about it, paying it more attention, watching more women's cricket. I ended up sitting up watching there was some T20 tournament being played in New Zealand the other week. It just happened to be on TV, and I was I sat there and watched it. So it is entertaining cricket. It's not. I don't think it is what some misogynistic people may fear it is, if that makes sense. It is. They are very, very talented, these girls, and more often than not, better than half the blokes that you see playing Saturday club cricket week in and week out.
Oh, significantly. One of the things that impressed me is, like, we were talking about how mentally sort of strong she is. The fact that she trialled for Surrey 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Got rejected, and she's gone back. No longer bowls seam, bowled leg spin, and is still being contacted and in contact with counties.
Yeah.
About trialling again this winter. That takes a massive amount of mental strength.
Yeah.
And drive.
Do you know what? If she gets a gig with Hampshire or Essex or Sussex or whoever it happens to be, fair fucking play to her.
Yeah.
Good on her. Like, to have the mental toughness to just keep going. I thought it was quite interesting how the one time where Surrey did pick her up, she wasn't actually supposed to be there trialling. She was there helping a friend, wasn't she?
Yeah.
But look shines on people sometimes, and I know the story didn't end that well, but I think there's a positive ending for Bales in here somewhere, and I really do hope that one of the counties give her an opportunity to kind of show out.
Playing for the slogging at 11, that's going to be...
Oh yeah, well she is coming up, isn't she? She's going to
Yeah.
she's going to show the three of us up on the 30th of August when we go up to.
I tell you what,
Fire Service.
she strikes me as being more feisty. She's definitely more feisty on the pitch than I am. I know that.
I'm not captaining her, that's for sure. So, we'll just give her the armband when we get there on the day. There you go, Bales. You can do it. You're in charge.
Yeah.
So yeah. Look, nice way to finish that. I think
Who have we got coming on?
the amount of recordings we're doing at the moment, unbelievable scenes. We have in the next few weeks Lydia Greenway, ex-England women's cricket legend. We have Paul Franks from ex-Nottinghamshire. Did play for England, so we're talking to him tomorrow. He's recently come back from coaching out in the T10 League with Kumar Sangakkara. We have Andrew Edwards, who is an autistic guy who has done a lot of writing, a lot of stats work about cricket on living with autism and his love of the game. So we're recording with him next week. We've just got some amazing people lined up. We're talking to all different types of people who've got a real interest in the game and a love of the game and a story about their love of the game. And so, yeah, it's very exciting times for the podcast. There's another couple of things bubbling away that obviously the three of us are aware of that would be super, super exciting if we manage to pull them off. So fingers crossed, and they are TBC.
And we've only got 2 more episodes and we're out of February. Eat that, Toby Tarrant.
Eat that, Toby Tarrant. So, yeah, having started his own rival podcast as well.
Yeah, I know.
We talking of that rival podcast. We're getting Daniel Norcross on here as well, aren't we? Not to talk about their podcast, although you should listen to it. Zero Ducks Given, because they're a great bunch of lads, and of course we would want to support them in the way that they've been happy to support us. So, we shall see you next week. Just for now.
Cheers. See you later.
Bye-bye.